I've poured out my base with a mixture of sky blue light and a little bit of minty green. Laying down the first colour, pouring from one edge to the other, and hoping it will be a thin line. Starting with the darkest colour, which is an opaque Prussian blue. Over the Prussian blue I poured out some phthalo blue, and now I'm pouring out a little ultramarine blue, and again hoping to get a thin line. It always starts a little bit thicker in the corner. Ah, there we go, it's a little bit thicker than I wanted. And now the pearlescent white over the cyan blue. And it was actually fluorescent blue, not iridescent blue. Ah, different brand. Due to an interruption I couldn't ignore, my paint has now spread all over. I had to leave, and so now I'm adding a little bit more of the base colour around the paint in the hope that that will push it back and make it a little thinner of a stripe. Blew out almost the way I wanted it, except in some places I need to use the straw because I don't like the shape. That blew out very nicely, really, more or less the way I wanted it. Not entirely, so I need to do a bit of fixing, but I'm going to shape it into a vine going down there. So I'll start up here. Through the center. You need to wipe that off now. And there are some lovely cells and lacing in here, so I hope they will remain. And I don't want to lose what I'm looking at. There's almost some natural lines there. There's one there, so I'll just go with that. And here's one. There's a little one there. And here's one. So you can almost see one there. And sometimes it's really hard to know what to do with them. Bring this one down here to match that one. And this is run off the side, so I'm going to just pour a little white over here. Well, actually, that is fine there. There's one. I'll have to blow that out. But I'm on the wrong side of the table and I don't have my straw. That's how it blew out and how I shaped it. And some of the lines are disappearing, but some are staying. So I'll see what happens once it's dried. I had adjusted my hairdryer off the front parts here, so that it's a narrower opening in the hope that I would get smaller blooms that way. Smaller, but still they were not exactly how I wanted them, but that's okay. Now I was interrupted by a noise I could not ignore, and lost my train of thought completely. So I can see the silver, I can see the pearlescent, the different blues are showing through nicely, the ultramarine, the Prussian, and the cyan blue. I can pick out all the different colours, and there's the ultramarine blue there. It's really pretty, and so it should have a good shimmer once it's dry with the fluorescent blue and the pearlescent white and the silver. But I don't think I put enough silver on. The silver stream was very thin. I should have put another layer on top, and I would have if I had not been in such a desperate hurry to blow it out. But I'll have to wait and see what happens when it's dry. The painting has dried, and but before I left it to dry, I wasn't entirely happy with some sections of it. So, for example, here I added a few more specks of silver, and there as well, and in a few other places, and then I just blew them out with a straw, and there as well. And here, around here, when I looked at the canvas again, it just looked like the white wasn't covering this part of the canvas properly. So I took the mixture that I'd made, because I had scraped up all the leftover blues into the white, blue, green mixture, and it made this lovely light blue. And so I just added that around the bloom here and there and on that side, and tried to push the bloom back in some places to make it more of the shape that I wanted. And it added some nice little flakes here and there, a nice sort of cloudy look. I think it's quite pretty. But for some reason here there's still some of the white, which I think was part of the bloom. So I might have to still embellish this a little bit. Also because I need to put a bit of dark blue around there, or any of the darker blues. Or silver, I could do silver. I might do silver all around. And I'm thinking of what I should do with it. But it's pretty just as it is, and so it's one of... I've decided I'm going to include this part of the bloom by using a little of this colour. I've lost track of which colour it is, but it's one of the blues. I think it's the ultramarine blue. I want to incorporate this part of this bloom so that it kind of matches on that side, and this will stay white, and then I'll put a bit of white in between there. And then I will go over all of the lines in the blooms with some silver, I think. That'll just complete the look. I think that's fine. It doesn't have to be completely covered. And all the rest, I like all the little bits of cloudiness in the background. I think it's pretty. Now with a little silver on my brush, I'm going to bring back the lines like this. This one has disappeared, and I'm not going to start right from the top. I'll just start sort of, you can just see it faintly there. And that's all I want, just a faint line. And hopefully I can follow it, what I can see of it, all the way down. It goes a little bit over, that's okay. That went out. And then I'll do the side branches off it. And it doesn't look great while it's wet, but it dries perfectly. The paint is thickened a little bit. It's the same paint that I used to pour out, but it's been a few days, so it's thickened a bit. And I haven't added more water, and that's just fine. That's that one. And I'll leave it to dry. Once it's dry, I'll see if I do need another layer. So that's like a natural line. I'm not going to go over that one. But I'll go over this one. Now, a little bit around the bloom would also probably look nice, I think. But like I said, I'll first do the inner lines and then decide whether I want to do outer lines as well, or outer edges. I can't quite see where this one starts. It was probably around here somewhere. And the silver, you know, it's very, very light colour. So it will just highlight them if I do one layer. If I really want to, I can come back and do another layer, but I don't think I will. Yeah, I just cannot see the line. I know it's there somewhere, but here I wanted a little petal like that, and then there's one there. So that's around where I'm going to do the white. So I'll bring this one in here. I mean, it's just your vision, it's what you can see in your inner vision. And of course my inner vision and my actual vision don't quite match, but well, because I couldn't see, I actually had to lift up the painting and hold it in my hand. As it has a wooden panel in the center, I could easily hold it. And now I'm just redoing this where I painted over white. I added more white to the mixture. It was a bit too blue. And I've gone around the edges of the petals with the silver, and it's going to look nice when it's dried. This I need to remove as well. Turn this white. And I took the silver line all the way to the top to match the one at the bottom. So there's a bit of matching going on here. And it might need a third layer, as the blue underneath is very strong and this is not pure white. It's to match the blue in the background there. And that should do it, I think. Maybe a bit more there. I think that's fine. I might just remove this silver in the center because I just don't like the way it's colored there. Just because the rest of the blooms don't have it. So, because that was what I added on afterwards while it was still wet, and then I blew it, and it's, you know, unfortunately, because most of the silver isn't visible because of the dark colors, or it was swallowed up. You can just see it very, very faintly. That's just too intense there, so I'm going to go over that with a bit of blue. That's how it's dried, and I think it looks fine. It just looks perfect, actually, I think. Here is where I added the white and blue over the silver, and it kind of matches this one. You can't really see that I've used a brush there. There wasn't enough of this color, this particular blue. There seems to be a lot more of this darker blue. Here, it's a pity I didn't notice it while it was wet. But it's really very solid blue there, and I don't really like that. But I'm going to leave it now, because overall, it's just part of the whole painting. And I think if you see it in the light, it looks even better. You can see a little bit of the silver shimmering. Now, you know, I like to do the transformations, but I'm not going to transform this one. But if I had wanted to, I think it would have been an ideal painting for a river running through it, through the center, and then I could have sculpted these blooms into hills and mountains on the side covered with snow. So there's always a possibility of doing something more interesting than just a bloom. But now I'm going to leave it. I like the bloom, I like the colors, and I'm happy with it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and comment and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye for now.